Well, hello, this is Shiva, and we're going to continue on with the Infraspace videos. I forgot what version number this is, but it will be marked anyway. I haven't actually been doing a video for a while because I decided that I really, really badly needed a massive reorganization so that I can start building into the middle game. So first off, we're going to have a quick look here at what I've done off camera. Starting, of course, first with the science here. And I went and got methane and methane power plants because the solar panels were not really cutting it. And I had way too many solar panels and I had way too many jobs being taken up from it. In fact, you'll find that this is actually a very common theme. I sort of downsized a lot of stuff. I was grossly overproducing some things, and it was starting to affect the game. And I really wanted to get into the third stage with the residences, things like the good food and the entertainment and stuff. And I realized that I just had way too huge of a population, and most of them were just basically doing nothing. On top of it, I kind of wanted to reorganize how my buildings were being placed and trying to optimize things. So for the last, several hours, quite a few hours actually, I've started the reorganization, getting my highways all set up properly and redoing some of the build for a lot of the existing buildings that I have already. So I'm about halfway done, so it pretty much tells you just how much work is actually involved with this, but I'm enjoying it, so I kind of like stuff like that. So anyway, I've got the methane, and of course I've also upgraded to my food processing. That's for the next stage. That's fertilizers, vegetables, etc. I've also really upgraded all of my transportation network because I want guys to move from point A to point B really, really fast. Now, I've got trains too as well, but I don't have any trains going at the moment. And other than that, of course, some odds and sods too as well. So let's have a good look at where I'm at here. So anyway, here's my residential. And as you can see, it's looking a lot neater, and it's also quite a bit bigger as I'm sort of building up the grid. One of the things that I should mention here is that I have a water pipe network. That was one of the other things that I really needed to upgrade because I wanted to get methane to do all of my power. So I've quite literally, as you can see, I have my water pipes laid down there. That's just so that I can save a little bit of space here, okay, as you can see. But one of the things that I have found out is that if you alternate in a grid design like I've got, if you alternate between food and oxygen and probably water here, but if you alternate, you don't have so many problems with people demanding oxygen and stuff. This was driving me nuts for the last 10 hours was the fact that I was constantly having oxygen problems and food problems, especially in this area here. But by alternating it, that means that the delivery can go straight up. Now, if you've noticed something here, and again, another common theme, if you notice, I have highways going up, which is vertically, and regular roads going horizontally. And all of my entrances are on the horizontal side because you can't enter a building from a highway, which is the big black things there, the highways. So I sort of very, very carefully designed everything so that everything is going onto a normal road, or all of the entrances. And then when a delivery happens, they zip. Say, for instance, somebody needs food, so it would be come from here, it would go here, go straight to the highway, and go zip all the way up, and then deliver into this building here. That's the reason why I did it. It makes a big, big, big difference, to say the least. Now, as you can see, I'm doing I'm setting up my parks. If you put a little park here, it just barely covers everything. I'm probably going to have to put a couple of decorations there, which I will be doing very shortly, and not houses. Now, as to the water, well, as you can see, I have tanks here. I've got water here. I kind of overdid it with the spaceships because I'm trying to get my population back up to close to the 4,000. I've got 3,700. And as you can see, I greatly reduced the amount of jobs that I have. As I said, I was really overproducing. So I've deleted quite a few buildings in the power and the solar panels. And instead, I've got methane factories. So as you can see, it's looking pretty good so far. No real major complaints. Now, I'm going to be redoing this. I'm probably going to this is just basic right now, just to get some power going in here. As you can see, I've got lines. And now we'll take a look at the methane. Now, as you can see, I barely have enough power. We can add a couple more methane here, and there's a nice clump of methane here. And we also have tanks. Do some storage. I will be expanding that off camera. And here's my methane factories. And as you can see, they're all pumping out quite nicely. And then on top of it, if we follow along here, you can see that I've now connected all of the wires. I've removed all of the solar panels that were over here. I've wired everything up. And now we're going to go into my food storage area. And here you go. And again, this is sort of set up really, really, really quickly here. Just what I need. And I said that in the previous video, I was going to build it and put it on camera. The problem was I really, really kind of needed to get everything straightened up and as optimized as possible. I have some expansion along this row here. If you look at my production, as you can see, stupid. This is one of the things is it does that. Okay, but as you can see, my good meals, I'm producing 68, but I'm consuming 66. So that's really, really tight. Same with survival food. I'll probably knock down the survival food to save some jobs too as well. But as you can see, I'm just sort of producing. Don't need that. I'm just sort of producing enough. And the way it is, of course, we'll start with the fertilizer. And for that, you need sulfur and chemicals. Well, here's where all my sulfur is. And if you notice, I also removed some buildings here, but all my sulfur is coming from here. It's I've done 2 lines of sulfur, and it just feeds all of the sulfur from this area. And then from the chemicals, I have a group of chemicals here, and then I have a second group of chemicals over here too as well to make sure that my supply is good. And what I've done is I have basically divided everything into little sections. So there's where your fertilizer factory is, and here's and then the next stage is the vegetable farm. Now, if you notice, I have highways going all the way down, pretty much straight down, but there are sections here where I don't, so that I can have the entrance. So if a car comes down here, he can actually get in there. If this was a highway, he wouldn't be able to get into this. And this is a little awkward because this is the only way you can do the vegetable farms. It's sort of like this, and keep it to the grid. And then the next stage is the stem cell. This is where I am bringing all my chemicals and I'm processing them into stem cells. And again, as you can see, I have just enough. I am probably overproducing a little bit. Oh, I've got a problem here. This guy is facing here. So what we do, if you want to just change it, just click, hold it down. There we go. There we go. If you notice, I've been very careful with how I'm placing my connections to my roads. I'm trying to keep my traffic down as much as possible. And as you can see, it's at 99%, which is really good considering that I've got close to 4,000 people. So not too bad. Now, the next stage on that one is this guy right here. This is my meat lab. This is what makes me my meat. So, yeah, you know, pretty much self-explanatory. If I didn't already mention it before, I have upgraded my water to extractors. You only have 2 people working. If they were individual plants, the original ones, these guys right here, as you can see, they have 2 people, but an extractor also has 2 people, but this only gives you 1 water. This gives you 5. So that's the reason why I got the extractors. I'm going to do the same for the oxygen, but that's yellow science, and that's a little bit ways down. So everything is now good. So everything now comes into the meal factory. And as you can see, it gives me 3 vegetables and 3 meat, and it goes into 1 good meal and an organic race, which I still really haven't gone into yet. And again, as you can see, it's all set up in my grid so that I can really produce a lot more good food if I actually need it. But at the moment, I'm good. Now, one of the things I noticed is that when everything is delivered, if you just I decided to do it this way with a collection center and then a resource center. What will happen is the traffic management sometimes is not very, very good. So if I didn't have this, if I just connected up to the highway, not only would I be getting my good food, but I would be getting water, I would be getting oxygen, I would be getting chemicals also coming down from there too as well. And I didn't want that. I just wanted just good food, good meal. So what I did was this is a kind of a handy little thing for the collection center in that you can just say, okay, just good meals. And so what will happen is only good meals will be delivered. Everything else will just pretty much stay in this entire section. This is all completely and totally self-contained. And so by doing a collection center, I can just tell it to do a good meal and to collect good meal and nothing else, and then it will deliver all of the food down to a resource center, which is somewhere around here, way down here. Whoa, boy, oh boy, oh boy, boy. Yep. Where is it? There it is. It's down here, and I have it right here. There's my distribution center, and it is receiving the good meals, and then it is automatically distributing it to my residents. So this really, really saves a lot of problems with resources going some places where it shouldn't be going because of the traffic system, how traffic is managed. So, you know, it was just a very simple solution. You can do this with trains, but I've decided not to do trains. I do have that already researched. I tried it a little bit. I actually find that it's okay. It's not really all that great unless you have yellow science and have the high speed. And it just, they actually take up way too much room. So I just decided not to bother and just do it on highway. It's not as if I'm running out of resources right now anyway. Hey, look, there's a little green car. Let's see. And what he's doing is he's going to the distribution center, and as you can see, he's going quite a ways. In my reorg, I might put in room for some train tracks and stuff, but as you can see, we have to clear these huge mountains here, and there's no room down here or all that much either. And then of course you got mountains all over the damn place, so it's very, very tough to have a clear line. So we just have to do it this way, sort of jaggy. Now, what's next? Oh, well, I decided to get a handle on my oil production, and most importantly, plastics. And as you can see, I have a dedicated group here for the sciences. And there's a second group for to help with the green sciences too as well. Plus we have my chemicals here and everything else. It works out great. I don't have any problems. I just reorganized it. And then up here is the section that I'm going to be working on next. I'm going to be adding the power. As you can see, I've removed all of the solar panels, and instead I have power networks, and I'm just going to connect each power network up, 1, 2, and then there's a third one here, and then it will go up to up here, and then up, and then another one up here. So I can, you know, just keep a handle on my power and on my power lines, because to be honest, the power lines just look terrible. So my next step now is to go into things like is to redo the home appliances and do the computer section. They were placed in sort of roughly. The home appliance, what's happening is my computers are taking on my plastics, and they seem to be taking a lot of my plastics away from my home appliances. So I'm going to need to redo it. So I am thinking of moving everything, is get my power situation going. And I am thinking about finding a really, really large flat area, probably in this area here. This is all seems to be flat. And we're going to have a section just for, you know, home appliances and computers. Let's see if we can find one here that makes it easier. So, you know, so we have home appliances and computers. So this is your tier 2 residential area. And as you can see, we're doing fine on the good. This is tier 3, which is good meals, home robots, and entertainment. But I want a section for tier 2, which is home appliances and computers. I want a section for tier 3, or sort of self-contained, which would be good meal and the home robot. And that would be at the very top of the map. So I'm trying to just sort of clump everything together and reorganize. So I'm about halfway done right now. And if you noticed, I've also greatly decreased my concrete. I've got a large population, and I've got 1,000 jobs available. But one of the things I've noticed is you really got to keep an eye on your population and on your jobs, and also on your power too as well. So my first step would be to upgrade my methane factories so that I can greatly increase the power. At the moment, I'm only at about 4,000. So as you see, I'm really cutting this very, very fine. And then I'm not really worried about concrete. I have 2.2 million concrete, so it's not really that big of a deal. And I decided, and it saves a huge amount of jobs. And steel production, I'm, you know, creeping up to 800,000 steel, and I'm not even really halfway through the game yet. So it tells you. So I'm going to be adding methane here. I'm going to be reorganizing this. This section here, I don't even need the power poles all that much in some of these areas. So I'm going to be reorganizing that. And then I'm going to start working on the tier 2 residential stuff, reorganizing it. So it's going to be an interesting video to see what I come up with. But I am, you know, the big problem, of course, is the plastics here, because apparently the computer factories seem to be stealing all of my plastics. So I'm going to have to work out a proper build order for that. But I'll get it done. In the meanwhile, I think what I'll do is I'll just cut this video short. There isn't really a heck of a lot more to talk about. This is sort of a one step backwards kind of deal. And the next video will be everything is sort of reset up properly the way that I like it. And then I'll start, you know, moving into robots and maybe even yellow science. You never know. So in the meanwhile, I hope you all had a great day. As usual, my day was actually terrific. I've done nothing but just, you know, pretty much stay at home. So, you know, I like days like that. And on top of it, I have some hours to actually play, so I'm really, really happy about that one. So in the meanwhile, have a great tomorrow, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.